Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films Theatre with your hosts, Matthew Ayalew and Ethan R. Hill. How's that? That was good?
Oh, yeah. Classic. Classic.
Hello, my fellow movie fans. Welcome to...
That was like...
Hello, my fellow movie fan.
I thought it was like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for a second. I was like, oh, damn, man. There's a lot of sugar up in here. Feel like you're going to put me in an oven and bake me.
How'd you go from Willy Wonka to Hansel and Gretel?
Man, it's all the same candy and shit. That's the connection.
One is a gingerbread house, and the other's a chocolate factory.
A gingerbread house that was like full of candy and stuff. You don't just make like a boring gingerbread house. You got to put icing on it and all the little candy jubes. That's what I was thinking. It was the candy connection. It was the candy connection.
That's a terrible connection.
Just like the rainbow connection. It's all connected, baby.
No,
it comes back like around.
The Muppets are not
Kermit
connected.
the Frog. Someone's getting cooked in a pot. That's all I know.
Is it Miss Piggy? Is it a pork pie? Is that what's happening here?
No, it's probably that experiment when you put the frog in the pot and then increase the heat slightly so that they don't notice. And then they just stay in there and boil themselves alive.
I don't think.
Man, what a dark intro!
I think that's just cooking. I think that's just cooking.
I think that's just how you cook frogs. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is.
I don't think I'd ever be interested in like eating frogs. Just because,
me neither, man.
Like apparently they taste good. It tastes like chicken, but it just seems like such a waste of meat. Because like I've seen what frog legs look like, and it's just like little, tiny, really skinny chicken legs.
Waste of meat, man. Sounds like a waste of effort.
I know.
That's no meat on that. It's like, wow.
I guess that's what I meant more than anything.
Give me one of those big old turkey legs from the fair. Like, I don't need no frog leg. Come on.
And then you could just cut to Matt with a giant human leg on it.
Give me more meat. I need meat. Substance.
You would gladly take a T-Rex leg, wouldn't you?
Oh, probably. Now, that would probably taste like chicken. I have to imagine dinosaurs being ancestors to birds might also taste like chicken.
Is that why reptiles taste like I've heard people talk about eating like lizards and snakes, and they say it tastes like chicken.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or fish.
But dinosaurs are more closely connected to birds than they are to lizards. So how that all connects, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm wondering maybe that's why. I like how we were talking about this last week where it's like, oh, we should just do a food podcast, and we open up talking about
all because you opened in like the creepiest way possible. Like
I was
just
full of
nightmares.
Energy bursting.
I am going, man, if I was laying in my
fellow movie fan.
If I was laying in my bed at night and I heard that, I would be scared shitless. I'd be like, oh damn.
Look, I don't think
it's about to get real up in here. I'm hiding under these covers. They ain't no doubt.
If people are listening to us to fall asleep, number one, thank you, because you're listening to us, and that's all that matters to us. But also, and we know they'll listen to the whole video because, like, they can't stop it. But also, I don't think they're gonna fall asleep in the first 30 seconds. So I think scaring them and getting that adrenaline pumping isn't a bad idea.
What? Man, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not even talking about the people listening. I'm just saying if I was laying in my bed at night and I heard that, I might be scared. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for everyone for listening. Welcome to A Feast of Films. We're going to be talking about movies today once we get past this part. So what do lizards taste like?
They taste, apparently most reptiles, birds, and small mammals taste like chicken. Yeah, so like that makes sense. That checks out. So
chicken must be like the generic flavor of the animal universe, you know?
Well, and I think that's where that kind of movie trope of tastes like chicken came from. Where because that's anytime a character eats something that they're unsure about in a movie, the response 9 times out of 10,
it tastes like
so
chicken.
many movies it just tastes like chicken. Yeah, that was
that's go ahead, give it a try. It tastes just like chicken. It'll be fine. Except people apparently taste like pig. I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
Like pork.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I've talked in depth about tofu before. I don't know if I need to bring that up again.
Probably
It's
not.
again why
No.
I'd try it. I'd still try it because again, I'd know. I'd know what we taste like. And you are
Okay.
look, Matt. You just gotta remember it. You are what you eat. So cannibals are the most human people out there.
By that argument, I cannot
can't
argue
Nope.
because if you are what you eat, you are technically right. But also, I ain't turning into a giant lasagna anytime soon. So, by that
I don't
argument,
know.
knowing it's bullshit means
I don't know, Matt.
you're
You're
probably
looking
the
kinda
least
beefy
human because psychologically we should not be eating each other. But
Matt, you're looking kind of beefy and cheesy to me, and there's a lot of layers to you, so you're kind of looking like a lasagna.
I got that Parmesan cheese on top. Oh,
Well, I'm never gonna eat Parmesan cheese again. Thanks,
don't
Matt.
go all Hannibal Lecter on me. You know what? I'm not coming to visit you anymore, man. I'm concerned. Prosser, get out of there! Get out of there, Prosser! Get out!
No, he's stuck with me. At this point, I don't know if I don't think I like. And again, I don't know enough of the science as to the type of people that would taste good. Like, I don't know how that necessarily works. Like, I barely know how it works for animals, let alone like people. But like, I feel like Prosser would not be my prime like choice candidate for eating. Like I just feel like that's not the case. Like,
Oh man,
I
how
feel
do
like
we
there are
even
better
get here?
people.
How do we get here? How do we
You were
get
asking
here?
what reptiles tasted like, and then
How
you brought
do we
you
get
no. This is
here?
Matt. This is on you.
Oh,
I can
blame the
explain.
black guy.
No,
Blame the
I'm just gonna
black
explain
guy.
it.
Okay.
And people can go back and they can listen for themselves. But you specifically, I said that most birds, reptiles, and small mammals taste like chicken, and you're like, oh, most animals taste like chicken, I guess, except for humans. We taste like pork.
Oh yeah,
apparently.
but that was just on the way to it. That is not how this whole thing started.
No,
you know how
you-
this thing started? You introduced yourself like a psychopath. That's how,
I introduced
that's how
myself
this whole
different
thing started.
than any other episode because I feel we need some different spices
And
and
it
flavors.
scared me. Okay, there, Hannibal Lecter. Okay,
Look,
you
man,
knew this is where the conversation was going.
Look, I had no idea.
You're just like,
look,
perfect. This will lead to this and to this, and then we'll be talking about people.
I'm very like flattered that you think I'm that much of a pre-planner that I can like plan out that stuff. But like, no, I have no idea. And honestly, Matt, like we need to season our podcast a bit more. It's a little white people flavored, don't you think? Just very bland. Like maybe some salt if we're feeling risky. We'll add some pepper.
Ooh. Well, today is a little bit of like cayenne in there. Just a little bit of a bite.
I saw this on a cooking show. And it's a
Salt
spritz
Bae.
of lemon. We're a little.
Oh man, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I tried something different and it came out wrong. I didn't rehearse it. I didn't practice it. And you know what? That's part of the process.
Yeah, it was fun. You know what? I was getting in trouble today already. Just after supper, my wife's like, "You have way too much energy. Stop being so happy." And I was like, "Okay." I'm just like, I will go back to being a miserable old curmudgeon because that's what I'm good at. But clearly, I still have some excess energy here tonight because I'm ready to roll, man. I'm ready to roll.
I am surprisingly energetic, but like I'm catching my second wind. Oh, also, a friend of mine was giving me crap because he's the one who told me to put my name in for the job that I got. So Trent, this is your shout out that you won't leave me alone about, and that's all you're getting. Hi, Trent.
Hi, Trent. Thanks for getting Ethan a job.
He didn't get me the job. He just told me when to put in the application, and then I interviewed, and I did the legwork. And he also helped, promote me to the people in the office and say, "Hey,
Trent, thanks for getting Ethan a job and getting him all set up so he could meet
I had
all
a job
the nice
before.
people." Yeah,
I had a job before. I did.
Now you have a better job.
I mean,
just say thank you. Thank you, Trent. I will say thank you for him. Ethan,
Well,
manners, dude.
He wants to be on the show at
Manners.
some point.
Manners.
I don't know if we should let him because, he's mean to me.
Thank you, Trent. Thank you.
Don't thank him anymore. He doesn't need any more of your thanks. It's going to go to his head.
Thank you.
It's going to go right to his head. he's gonna just become more big-headed than he is already.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's because you don't
Gratitude
know the guy.
is not your strong suit.
I'm very grateful for a lot of people.
I'm just kidding. I know you are. I know. It's all play. It's all play.
I am as grateful for Trent as I am for Jesse Prosser, and I'll leave that information with you guys to figure out how grateful I am towards either of them. So anyway, Matt, on to 2003.
Oh, just wait. Before we get into 2003, though, I just remembered, because I forgot to tell you, I went to see Suicide Squad.
I haven't seen it yet.
On the weekend. It wasn't the weekend. It was on Tuesday. It feels like the weekend. I'm not even sure what day it is today. I feel all messed up for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But dude, go see it, man.
I'm planning to. It's on the list. It's just I started a new job. I'm tired.
I'm just saying.
Give me some time.
I'm just saying it's a lot of fun. It was quite a good film. I think it really, honestly though, like watching the whole thing, I'm like, probably could have cut like a little bit off at some point. It could have been a little shorter. It did feel a little long at some points. But most of the time, it was just smooth sailing, very funny. And he totally embraced like that more R rating. I think it's actually like 14. PG 14. 13? 14? Is it PG 18 here? I don't know. Is it R rated here? I don't know.
I know in Alberta it's 14A. I think everywhere else it's rated R.
That's where I think it's 14A. But yeah, like he totally embraces that R rated culture and like the idea, and you just really like, dude, the gore and the violence is just fan freaking tastic. And so many things that I didn't see coming. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And King Shark was top notch, dude. He reminded me of my child, which is funny to say, but when you watch the movie, you'll be like, yeah, he is kind of a giant toddler who eats people. That's
what Max does, right?
Yeah, he's kind of, he doesn't eat people, but like he's always looking for snacks.
You don't know. You're not around him all the time.
Yes, I am. It's literally my job right now.
Are you with your son right now?
No, he's sleeping.
He could be eating people. You don't know.
I would doubt it. But anyway, great film. Just to quickly sum it up so we can get into 2003. Great film. Lots of fun. Totally would recommend it. Don't bring kids, though. Don't bring kids. There's someone who brought seriously like a 7-year-old. I was like, oh, dude, this is man. She's probably gonna be like, ugh.
I was planning to go to the park and pick up a bunch of random kids and take them to this movie.
Well, I wasn't specifically talking to you, but maybe whoever listens to our podcast might have a little more diversity in their life other than living with Jesse Prosser. Make sure you take Prosser though. He'll have fun.
I can't take Prosser. He's a child.
Prosser will have fun regardless.
He might like it too much.
Maybe.
I'm gonna.
It's totally worth it, man. James Gunn nailed it. He nailed it. It's a gooder. All right, so we're talking about 2003.
So speaking of things that James Gunn nailed, he didn't have any movies this year, but that was a decent segue.
Okay. I thought you froze again for a second. I was like, oh, you're you're just being still.
I'm trying to remember what year Scooby-Doo came out, because technically that would have been him, but like Scooby-Doo didn't come out this year.
Did James Gunn do Scooby-Doo?
He wrote it.
Oh.
He wrote the first one, yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
I think he wrote the second one too, but I'm not too sure. So, Matt, did you notice what I noticed about 2003?
Yeah, it was totally banging. Man,
was it that, or did we just have? Was it that, or we had no lives growing up? We just watched movies all the time.
Well, in 2003, we were 12. So, also as we go through this list, keep in mind we were 12. Some of these movies I probably haven't seen since I was 12. So that's kind of the angle I'm going at. But there's a lot that I have seen since then. But really, looking at this list, I'm like, wow, there was so many banging movies in 2003. It was such an excellent year for movies. And I'm sure as a 12-year-old, I was losing my freaking mind. Because it was so just damn good. So damn good. I can
say, revisiting mine, I've seen probably about 70% of my list within the last 5 years. I've revisited them. So I can luckily comment on some of the quality. But at the end of the day, a lot of it's nostalgia factor. I'll fully admit that I'm biased. Like,
nostalgia is always huge, especially when you're talking about those, your younger years, especially those early teen years, because there were so many good things coming out then. Honestly, I don't know what it is, but those early 2000s, whether you're talking about movies or video games, were really good. It was a tight time.
Before we realized how sad everything was.
Before 2010. After 2010, everything started going downhill. But those early 2000s, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Loved it. Maybe everyone was just hyped because there was a new millennium. I don't know.
Yeah. Still... How many kids' movies are on your list?
Probably, there's a couple in here.
Mine's about 14 out of the 24 that I have, so...
I would say one. Was that even a kids movie? I don't even think it was.
Which one?
I don't know. We'll get into it when we get into it. There's a couple on here that are definitely like more for kids.
We could get into it now, man.
But I remember, I remember them being dope. I remember them being dope. We'll get into it when we get into it.
Yeah, sure. You say that, and
then I'll forget. Then we won't get into it.
I mean, technically, isn't a kid's movie anything that someone watched as a kid? Or is it a movie made specifically for kids?
Mainly made for kids. Because there are some movies I watched as a kid that I probably shouldn't have. That I would not consider kids' movies.
I think. I want to say when I was...
For sure.
I think 2003 might have been the year that I saw my first horror movies in, too.
There is a couple good horror movies, too, in here.
Oh, they weren't new. They were old ones, but...
Oh. I was just saying, I think there's two on here that I was like, oh, yeah, those are actually pretty good.
I think I only have one traditional horror movie.
Just looking at this thing, I'm like, man, there's so many laughs in here. I love 2003. I love it.
Too bad it didn't love us.
It gave us away. It's like, hey guys, listen, I gotta move on to 2004. I gotta go. And we're like, take us with you. And it's like, sorry, I gotta go.
And then everything got dark in 2004.
Don't forget me when I'm gone. And my heart will break. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, who sings that song?
I don't remember. Let them sing it, but I forgot, so... Nice try.
Wait a second. You worked at radio. You should know who sang that.
Forget about me. Yeah, it doesn't mean I know every song ever.
Yeah, Matt, you're the human iPod. You should know every song.
Yeah, I just sing them, but I'm also broken. Did you not forget? It wasn't the human iPod. No. It was a broken iPod. I was just broken as hell.
You're the human iPod from the early 2000s, where all the songs were downloaded, so they were never the right artist.
Yes.
Or just like unknown artist.
Yes.
And whatever the main line of the chorus was.
Yes. You know that's true. And that was right around that time. Those early 2000s, man. Right before 2010. It just...
Right before iPod touches and Zooms.
Yeah.
Zooms or was it Zune? No, Zune, wasn't it?
Zune. Yeah. Zune was the other one that was really big.
Oh.
Oh, man.
I don't think Zune was ever really big.
Well, it was known. There isn't a lot of just like off-brand random MP3s at the time too, right? It was just... It was a crazy time. It was a crazy time.
Actually, I wonder. Let me dig through my stuff here quickly. Because I have my Blockbuster cards. I have plural Blockbuster cards, which is just kind of hilarious. I found a cassette player, which I have 2 cassette players, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cassette player.
Nice.
I have a mini disc. Oh, that's a new thing, though. I have cassettes. I swear I had my MP3 player in here. Maybe I got rid of it finally, which is very probable. Oh, hey, I need you for work. Nope, never mind. That's the wrong adapter. Man, everyone's so intrigued by what I'm seeing here, I bet.
We should really do a video version.
But
so people
mystery,
can just like, digging through stuff like, oh yeah, we're just listening
they can let their mind wander and imagine everything that I am pulling out of this drawer and be amazed by.
Well, that's a nice chainsaw you got there.
He's got a chainsaw. He is
Run, Brosser! Run! He's coming
cutting off Phyllis's head as we speak.
Ding, 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 ding. Everyone's like, okay. Oh. Nice,
and hey, look. There's the second cassette player.
Classic.
Oh, I got a notebook full of notes. What's in this drawer? Oh, look, there's some coasters. We got another hard drive in here. Well, I can throw you. I should pull you guys out. Pull you out too. Ooh! Oh, the loud noise. I was not prepared for that kind of level of decibels. Let's close you up.
Did you find what you were looking for there, sonny boy?
No, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Well, no MP3 player, Matt. I'm sorry. I failed you.
It's okay. I don't really feel that bad about it. You're forgiven.
Well, anyway, to continue our discussion about 2003. Oh, wait, I guess we have to start the discussion.
We've been talking about 2003. We've been talking about it. We just haven't talked about the movies yet. We haven't got there yet. But it was banging. It was banging.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was a pretty fun year.
So where do you want to start? Should we just start with like the number one movie? Because I think we both agree. There's one number one movie and everything else. Everything else is just fighting for second, you know?
Before that, do you have like, is there a specific movie memory or anything like that that's like a standout movie memory for you that year or not really?
Oh, from 2003?
Yeah, like, is there any moment when you think back to the movies you saw or went to and you're like, yeah, I remember that.
Man, there was one I remember. And it actually revolves around the movie we're going to be talking about. So should we talk about that movie first, or you want me to or should we just say the movie and then I can get into the memory of it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the movie we're talking about, obviously, is Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That movie was number one that year. Not just with all the awards and the box office and all that stuff, but really as a quality film, it was just the best movie. Everything else was fighting for number two. And I think we even talked about it. It's on our list, but at the same time, it's above our list.
And the thing is, we all knew that, like, everyone knew that going into 2003. Especially after Fellowship and Two Towers, everyone kind of knew, like, yeah, Return of the King's going to come out and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like no one was sitting there going like, oh, I wonder if the next chapter is going to be good. They were waiting for the final chapter of this, like, amazing trilogy, and the quality was consistent throughout.
Yeah, the whole time.
It really comes down to the fact that, again, they were all shot and made at the same time. Like, they were meant for that. And, like, that's kind of it. Like, again, like, no one really... I don't think there was a single person who was like, I don't know how Return of the King's gonna go. Like, I don't think anyone was like... I've never met someone who watched the first one, loved it, and then went to the second one and was like, I don't know, it wasn't as good. I don't know how they're gonna handle this third chapter.
And even just the way they created it, too. And, like, how the books go, right? There's that constant escalation through the stories, which always definitely helps and adds to it. But yeah, just how they were created, how they were made, the directing, the set design, the costuming, just everything. The music.
It was destined to succeed, and that's where, like, for me, a part of me just, I'd rather talk about Lord of the Rings in its own videos, because, like, its own podcast episodes, just because it's like, at the end of the day, like, again, it was destined to succeed. Like, there's a reason. I think it won 8 Oscars, but I was also collectively, like, for the other 2 films too. And, like, when you look at Lord of the Rings, you got to look at it as, like, a 3-part experience.
Well, I think the third one, just in itself, it might have the most. Does it have the most Oscars right now in a single year? It might.
But if you look at the second and first one, they didn't get Oscars.
Fair enough. I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
They basically waited for the third one to release and then chucked all the Oscars at Return of the King. It was like, here
Now,
you go.
what if Return of the King was just terrible? They're like, oh, never mind. We're just gonna hold on to these.
Well, I mean, the Oscars, it's all show anyway, so it's fine. I'll take one gladly.
Not as much. You know what's all show is Golden Globes. That's all show. That's all show. That can be bought. Oscars, there's at least a considerable amount of the voting body that even if you bribed a couple of them, it just wouldn't change anything. Something like that, but
yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay.
People's Choice Awards are where it's at.
Okay.
The MTV Movie Awards, that's the real
That's
ones.
the good stuff right there.
Yeah. That's the gold standard. But no, like to me, again, that's where like I don't really have much to say about Lord of the Rings other than I have enough. I have nothing to say about it in regards to 2003 movies. Mm-hmm. But if we were talking about just it on its own, I'd have so many things to say. But I don't really like. That's the thing is like it's easily like that's the thing. It should easily be top of my list, but it wasn't even considered. It's on my list is just Lord of the Rings, and that's because it's like, well, yeah, like that's all there really is to say about it. Like you don't really need to say much more.
Yeah.
That said, though, what's your movie memory?
So just wait. So the Academy has 9,300 voters, right? Made up of directors, writers, performers, whatever. The Golden Globe has like 87 journalists. That's it.
Yeah.
87. So one is a little bit more prestigious as far as how many voters you have and who's actually doing the voting, right? I don't disagree that a lot of it is all show. I'm just saying one is a little bit more recognizable as far as like the value of the award. Anyway, so my movie memory was Return of the King. I went with Joey and his parents and got like the big popcorn, got like the big drink because my mom wasn't there to be like, no, maybe you should get like the small one. I was like, I'm just gonna get the biggest one. Yeah. Like rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. I had to go to the bathroom so bad by the end of that film. I was like almost dying. And you know how Return of the King ends, right? It's like seriously 5 different endings. Like it kept fading to black. And I was like, oh, good, it's over. I can go to the bathroom. Then it kept going. I was like, oh my God. I was just like losing it in my seat because I had to pee. And then it's like, oh, then they like, the crowning of Aragorn and then it's like, oh, back to the Shire. Then it's like, oh, they're having beers, and it's like, oh, and then the movie finally ends or whatever. But like from the ending, from like the actual ending, of them like really putting the ring in Mount Mordor and kind of flying back. I was like, what's still at the end of that film? It's like it's a good amount of time. It doesn't end
about
like
20 minutes, yeah.
It doesn't end super quickly, right? Like it's a bit more of an extended ending. But
could you imagine the balls though if that was the end? Is like they throw the ring in and they collapse on the side of the volcano, and it's like I'm glad you're here with me, Sam. At the end of all things, and then it just cuts to black and credits. Could you imagine if like that was it?
Would be like, oh my God. But I have no problem with the ending.
Art.
Like,
it's art, man.
Like I love the ending and I enjoy it, and it's one of the few that actually work that extends out from the climax. Because usually most films end very shortly after the climax of the film. This one extends a little bit longer, and it does work because they have so many things to wrap up, and you want to get that conclusion to the characters, but. I'm telling you, as a 12-year-old who like drank a huge ass pop and had to take a leak so bad, that was the longest 20 minutes of my life. I was like, can I please just go to the bathroom because I don't want to miss anything.
This ending compared to like
it was funny, at least to me.
This ending compared to like The Dark Knight. Like The Dark Knight, it's a good movie. You could have easily ended it before all the Two-Face stuff and then left Two-Face for like the sequel. You could have. and it wouldn't have really changed much of the movie.
I disagree with that. I think that would have been
but that's because
way too much. I think no, seriously. If you would have been
silly.
like, "Oh, Jim, he's got my family," and then he deals with Joker, and then it's like end of movie. It's like, oh my god, that would have been way too much of a cliffhanger. Way too much, because you have like a considerable plot point throughout the film. You're like, and to the next one. Like that would have been. I totally disagree with you on that one, but you can have your opinion on that. That's cool.
I feel like The Dark Knight dragged on a little too long. Whereas again,
yeah, but that's not I mean, there's plenty of places you can make cuts in The Dark Knight. That was not one of them.
With Return of the King, like again, like the ending works, the pacing it out, especially after all the build up. All those endings are just like breath after breath of like fresh air. Like you're just sitting there going like, and breathe, okay, and you're still not released. Breathe some more,
and you get the warm fuzzies, and it feels good.
And I cry, I tear up.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm like I said, I have no problem with the endings. I'm just saying, as a 12-year-old who had to take a leak, it was terrible. But even look at Star Wars, right? The original Star Wars, A New Hope. They destroyed the Death Star, and that movie's over like a couple minutes later, if that. And most films are like that. You kind of have your big climax, and you wrap it up quickly. And that's just kind of a classic way films and stories are designed. But I appreciate what they did with Lord of the Rings, and you couldn't do it with every movie. But again, you're right, because they have been such big character films. Going from the first one to the second one to the third one. And there's so many hours, especially if you're going into the extended editions, that extra 20 minutes is just, it might as well be that extra couple minutes at the end after the Death Star blows up. In comparison to the journey you've been on, it actually works out really well. So, yeah, no. But that was my movie memory from 2003. I remember that vividly. That was the only time in the theater that I had to go. And I just was like, I don't want to miss a second of what's going on here. But I gotta pee really bad. Real bad.
I get that. That's half the joy of movies, though, is trying to...
Especially as a kid, right? Because you're just like, you just have barely any bladder control. You're just like, oh my god, I gotta pee. All the time.
I for some reason, have always just had an amazingly weird bladder control. And then I found out, actually, when I broke my arm, years and years ago when I was 13.
I did have a bladder. Oh my god.
No, I have my bladder is of abnormally large size. Most
you got some extra storage in there.
Yeah, most bladders are 750 milliliters.
Interesting.
Mine is a liter. So when I broke my arm and the doctors were like draining me because like I was put on morphine and stuff, and morphine stops you pee.
Yeah.
And you can't go to the bathroom. And then like they took me in for surgery and stuff like that, and they like, okay, they set him up and they started like draining me. And they're like, why isn't he empty?
Like, oh my god.
Why isn't he empty? Like what is in this 13-year-old boy's body?
He's just refilling it as fast as it's coming out.
I got sent for a bunch of ultrasounds to make sure that it wasn't squishing my innards weird or wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's fine. It's just bigger. It's weird. They're like, what's wrong with you? That's been, again, I think I've mentioned it before on other episodes.
You're like genetically just the weirdest dude sometimes.
That's the thing. I just hear that from doctors all the time. They're like, this is weird. You're fine. You're just normal. Weird. But it's weird. And that's been the number one thing.
Oh, man, I've heard about funny.
My back, my eyes, my bladder, my stomach. You name it, man. Like it's just it's like, no, this is normal. Like you're okay. You're alive, but it's weird. And it's like, okay. Thanks, Doc. I'm going to go and think about my life now.
I'm just going to go be weird over back in my house. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. What's your favorite movie memory from 2003?
Mine is a little weird because I don't have, when I look at this list, I don't really have a lot of vivid memories of in-theater experiences seeing these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Finding Nemo, I know I saw that one in BC with my extended family. X2, I think my dad took me. Lord of the Rings, I know I saw in theaters. And it was just like that was an experience because again, like that was a tradition. Like every year for those 3 years was me going to see Lord of the Rings with my family. Um, the one that stands out to me is a weird one because I don't necessarily like the movie. I like it well enough. The director's cut is better, but Daredevil. It's not a good movie. We all know it's not a good movie.
Yes.
The director's cut does make it a lot better. But I went and saw the theatrical cut, but it was my aunt who took me. And, like, again, she probably shouldn't have taken her 14-year-old or her 12-year-old nephew to see a 14A movie. But she did, because I love superheroes. I loved Daredevil. Like, I was so excited to see it. And my dad couldn't take me. I think maybe dad and mom were away. So Auntie took me. And there's nothing really super special and unique, but like me and her never really went to a lot of movies just one-on-one, just the two of us to go and see stuff. We'd usually go see it with the family, or
Right.
she'd branch off with my sisters or my mom, and the rest of us would go see other stuff. And I don't know, it's a special memory. Just it was, again, it's the company that I kept more than anything.
Right.
I think she also took me to the Hulk as well when the Hulk came out. Wait, was the Hulk this year as well?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Oh yeah. So she took me to two superhero movies the same year, and I think that's like, and again, like that's, I know it's not really necessarily a great answer. It's not a bladder story at all.
But listen,
But
like
it's
that's
it's when I think, when I think back to those movies, even when I see them on the shelf, I'm like, oh yeah, my aunt, and it's like she's not a huge Marvel fan. She's not really super big into those, but it's a connection. It's a memory there, right?
and that's the magic of movies. That's the magic of film and going to the theaters, because it's not just going and sitting in there and having popcorn and drinks and the big screen. That's always cool, but most importantly, it's who you share those experiences with. And like they're just memory makers. Like you look at a movie and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this one time I went with this person, and maybe you went with someone who, you didn't get to go to the movies with. And eventually, when our parents pass away, or when you have friends who are gone, and those memories are going to matter. When you see that movie, like, oh yeah, I remember going to see that with my dad or with my mom, and it makes you think about them. It's just the magic of movies and theaters. Like, it's a shared experience. That's why it's so great. That's why I love it. And usually, like, any date night my wife and I have, it's like, go to the movies, because we just love to do it. And it's the seats are nice, the big screen's nice, the big sound systems are nice, but it's who you're sharing the experience with that really makes it magical. Love it. Love it, man. That's a great memory. It's a great memory.
Thank you. So, aside from Lord of the Rings, then, what's your top movie? What's your number one slot?
Okay. Number one. This is a hard one for me because it's kind of like a tie between two. And I don't like, they're both very, very, very different films.
I'm curious now.
So it's hard to say which one is actually my number one. But I think I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings is like epic. We already decided that's like the number one of the ones.
Yeah.
But after that, so fighting for number two, you know what? I think I'm gonna give number two something that's a different flavor from Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna give it School of Rock. I absolutely love School of Rock. That was such a good movie, and I just actually watched it probably a couple months ago.
It holds up?
This year, I've watched it, and it holds up completely well. Jack Black, obviously, is just the rock star he's always been. And I feel like if I was a teacher, that's exactly what I'd be like. I'd be like, guys, I don't got homework for you, but let's play some guitars and stuff. Let's have fun.
You'd be an illegal teacher?
Yeah, probably. If I was a teacher, I would be the illegal kind. Well, yeah, that sounds wrong. Now, wait a minute. I would be the kind that just has a good time. That's what we'd be all about.
That doesn't sound much better, Matt.
No, it doesn't. I would be the kind of teacher who's just not a hard ass. How about that? That's a little better. I'm just like, God damn it, this is not working in my favor. But No, I love School of Rock. Like I said, Jack Black's an all-star, and those kids are so damn talented. They're
Oh
so
yeah.
damn talented. And the feeling that film gives, it really uses movie magic. Cuz just the idea of it is pretty good. Like, right? You see that on paper, you're like, "Oh yeah, that would be a nice family film." But it's the performances, the direction, the music, how it all gets put together really just elevates the film to another level that it feels like magic. And by the end, you're totally into it. When they're doing that final performance, you're totally into it. And yeah, it feels special. It feels special. And I know it's mainly meant for kind of kids or younger audience. And
No, really.
I loved it in 2003 and I loved it this year. So I kind of got to give School of Rock that number one place because it's a special film. And there's not many films like it. Obviously, it's not as iconic as Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, but we've said before, those movies are lightning in a bottle. It's hard to capture it, it's hard to figure out what exactly makes it so perfect, but everything came together to make it perfect. And I think School of Rock is another one of those films that was just lightning in a bottle. Even if you remade it with different casts, different actors, it wouldn't pull off. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't feel the same. That film itself is lightning in a bottle, and it's timeless. So that's what I think about School Rock. It is my number 2 film. And if you wanna
Cool.
be the teacher's pet, la la la, baby, you just better forget. Come on, Ethan. Rock got no reason. Rock got no rhyme. You
I don't
better
know the
get me to
lyrics.
school on time. Ah!
I haven't seen it in a few years.
It's great. It's great. Anyway, I'll stop singing. My apologies. There's a reason they used to call me the broken iPod, okay, folks? You're lucky I don't sing on here more, to be honest.
It was actually because he had this weird thing where you could press either one of his like pecs and he'd like skip to a different song, and you could actually like rub his tummy in a circle, and it would like scroll through different tracks. It was really bizarre.
Oh man, I remember. Yeah, I remember those times. That was hilarious. Ah, the good old days. The good old days. Ethan, what's your number 1 2-ish? Your number 2-ish 2-1, whatever it is we're calling this number.
Big Fish.
What is Big Fish?
You've never seen Big Fish?
I've never seen Big Fish. I didn't
So-
even see it on that list, and if I did, I didn't recognize it. What the hell is Big Fish?
Big Fish is the least Tim Burton-y movie that he has made. It's still pretty Tim Burton-y, but it's like not overtly Tim Burton-y.
Okay.
And it's just this really heartfelt story. Like it's it's I don't know how to explain it. It's basically this old man who's kind of like dying and losing his mind a bit tells a bunch of stories from his life, and it's a bunch of flashbacks of him growing up, and like his son never believed any of his stories because they were always like tall tales.
Right.
They were always like the story about a big fish where it's like, oh, and then I caught
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really big fish.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
fish always gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And like he grew up hearing these stories, and they always got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's basically just like this son being like, Dad, you made up all that stuff. I know you were lying. And it's him being like, no, like all this is true. And then he's telling the story to like a bunch of stories to either his wife or to his son's wife, and like it's just I need to rewatch it. I really want to rewatch it. It's just so good, and it's just really heartfelt and heartwarming. Really sad, but really happy. Ewan McGregor plays the young version of the
dad. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. It sounds familiar. I definitely haven't seen it though, but it does ring a bit of a bell.
It's really charming.
It's a small bell.
It's really, really
bell.
charming. And it's really, really well done. It's one of those ones that like people don't talk about as a Tim Burton film because they always talk about his spooky, scary stuff. And like this
Right.
has a couple things that are like, oh yeah, that's Tim Burton. Danny DeVito's in it. So there you go. There's a Tim Burton thing. Oh,
Yeah,
Danny
that's
DeVito,
pretty Tim
great.
Burton.
No, but it's so good. It's so well made. I love it. I love it so much. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And I gotta find it if it's on Blu-ray, and I gotta upgrade that.
Cool. I gotta check that out. Sounds interesting.
It's phenomenal.
I'm gonna Google it at the very least, just because I'm like, oh man, I don't not recognize that at all.
Like, have you seen? Do you know any images of it, or have you looked at?
No, I don't. Like you say, big fish. Like when you tell me like kind of the synopsis of it, it does sound familiar. It does sound familiar, but I do not have any recollection of the film at all. So I'm not sure.
No, it's again, man. It's just so well done. The cast is stacked, and it's a fun time. I don't know. There's not much more to say without just giving away a bunch of stuff about it.
Fair enough, dude.
But it's a very bittersweet ending. Like it's a happy ending, but it's a sad ending. Like it's an emotional watch, at least for me. And I always love that with these, because like my top picks for these movies, every time we go through these cycles, it's either a Disney Pixar film for my top one, some gigantic big action movie, or some really random drama that
just comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you should watch it. 100%.
Dude, I'll definitely check it out.
What's next for you? What's next on your list?
Just give me a sec. I accidentally clicked on Premiere Pro, and I don't want to like crash my computer, so just give me a sec here. Internet Explorer is right near the Premiere Pro button, my toolbar. So,
way to go, Matt! Sorry, I've had the Monster Inc. You know those two random guys in Monsters Inc., like the two voice cracking.
Not even a little bit, dude.
Monsters.
I haven't seen Monsters Inc. in such a long time.
Good luck, Mr. Sullivan. You idiot! You're breaking his concentration. Oh, sorry. Shut up. You don't remember those guys at all?
I probably haven't seen that movie since that movie came out. Like, for real.
That's a shame, because the bloopers behind that are also hilarious.
I bet. Well, Pixar is just magic, right? Like,
I miss their blooper reels.
Okay, we're good to go.
Good luck, Mr. Solomon. You idiot! It's Sullivan. Oh, sorry. You're ruining the take.
Hilarious. Okay, I'm ready to go.
What's your number 2 movie?
Okay, so for number 2 here, this is the other one that I was really debating if it should be 1, but just given the tone in Lord of the Rings, I switch it up. But Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
That's the
next one we'll talk about, because
God
damn.
I love the Pirates movies.
I love like the first 3. 4 and 5 are not as terrible as people make it sound, but it's definitely a drop off in quality between the original trilogy and the new 2 films.
Honestly, though, 2 and 3 was a drop off from 1. Like if you want to talk about just like a tight movie adaptation of a ride, which Disney tried twice. Disney tried twice this year, because this year was also Haunted Mansion dropped.
Yeah,
they took a gamble with two of their rides. One worked out really well, and the other one I don't hate. Like, I don't hate Haunted Mansion. I actually watch it like pretty much every Halloween because it's a fun time. It's just not great, and it's not what Haunted Mansion is, but it's fun. Whereas like Curse of the Black Pearl hit every beat of what a pirate film should be, and specifically the tone of the ride. Like it was so good. It was revolutionary. Apparently, actually, because Pirates came out before Lord of the Rings,
right?
And the trailer for Pirates came out before Lord of the Rings, and in the trailer they showed the ghost stuff. And Lord of the Rings spent a bunch of time trying to make those ghost soldiers,
right?
For the Return of the King.
Yeah.
And then the Pirates trailer dropped, and they're like, "Oh no, they beat us to it. Oh no, they're gonna think we just ripped off Pirates. Oh no, oh my god." Apparently, yeah, they had this huge meltdown in the office because of it.
Yeah, and they're just so like, totally different how they do it. Yeah,
but it's a similar effect, right? Like it's a really cool like the transitioning between being solid flesh and ghost and like
sure, yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
Like it's different, but it's similar, and I understand why they were panicked. But it's man, and it holds up. The pirate stuff holds up.
100%, dude.
Man, like it's. I love this movie. It's so fun. It's so good.
And obviously, you got star performers in there that are just absolutely nail it. With Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley,
Jeffrey Rush.
Good old Jeffrey Rush. Like Barbosa is so good. Like by the end, he's always like, I'm like, man, this guy's so greasy. Like every time I see him, I'm like, ugh. Especially I think it's the fifth movie. He's like all powdered up and he has the wig and stuff too. And you're like, dude, you look gross. Like you nasty old man. You did not age well. I know you were dead in the first one, but given that, you have not aged well. Like, yeah. Being someone who comes back for the dead, even with that, you have not aged well. Just tremendous. And obviously, Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp was really just, obviously the standout in that film. But for me, and I agree that the other two weren't as tight as films as that first one, but I wouldn't say they were major drop-offs in quality. I know some people think that, but for me, it's like, when it comes to the Pirates movies, it's all about the writing. Yes, the performers bring it to life and really sell it, but whoever is behind the writing of those films, they recognize and they understand the characters. They know what they want, and they've put them into conflict in such intrinsic and like complicated and twisted ways that even us as the audience, when we're watching things going down, there's backstabbing, there's betrayal, there's twists, there's turns. We don't know what any of the characters will do. Even the ones who seem like they should be pretty standard, like honest, straightforward, Keira Knightley or Orlando Bloom's character, even they get into the whole pirate craziness and they're betraying each other. It's just like absolute madness. And I think the perfect example is honestly the fight scene between Jack Sparrow in the second one, Davy Jones, and that other dude, that like commander guy, when they're having the sword fight trying to get the key to Dead Man's chest. And that key is just going back and forth between the characters. They're on the water wheel and they're spinning through the forest.
Davy Jones isn't in that. It's
Is he not? Or no, wait. Nope, you're right. He's not. Land. He can't step on land. It's Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom. What's the Commodore and
Depp and Jack Sparrow.
Norrington. Yeah, it's Norrington.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, for me, like.
So, okay, sorry, without Davy Jones, but that's the perfect example of that writing, like how that key goes back and forth, how they're constantly fighting, like how it's just utter chaos. That's how that whole film's writing is. And like, I love them. I love them for that. And that's what's sorely missing in 4 and 5. It's the writing, it's the betrayal, it's understanding what these characters want and completely continuing to bring twists and turns into that situation. Ugh.
See, and I would counter that with the first fight scene between Jack and Will in the blacksmith shop.
Mm-hmm.
That to me says more about those two characters and what they both need to do for growth. And that's what I love. I love fights that tell stories, and I feel like that fight and a lot of the first one, a lot of the fights would tell stories.
I agree with that. Yeah,
and they kind of continued that in the second and third one, but not nearly as much. Like it definitely it dropped off. It wasn't as good.
And I wasn't saying like the fight in the second one was telling a story necessarily, or it was like the strongest written fight. I'm saying like the imagery of that is what the writing was like, right? And the mindset of how they had to go into it. It was balancing these characters on a spinning wheel, one over the other, constantly getting the upper hand, and it changing all the time. And that's how that was the angle they took at that. And you write stuff, I write stuff. That is hard as hell to pull. Like I don't even know how they pulled it off. It's just you have to have such an understanding of those characters, and to bring them all together. That's where I think though great.
I think the first one did it better. Like that's the thing is like it was tighter. It was so much tighter.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that. I don't. There's a reason Curse of the Black Pearl is on this list. There's a reason. I'm just saying that writing, like, while the other two were not as strong as number one, I just don't think there was as much of a dropout as some people like to make it sound, at least to me, because the
Oh no, and
writing
I
was
agree.
still really strong.
I
But
like
yeah,
them.
number
Again, they're
one,
fun adventure films.
number one's the tight, like it's the tightest. It was the most well thought out, and it had a very solid beginning and end. Right, where two was kind of like cliffhangery, and three you kind of got that big conclusion. But one was the best one. Its terms of like just being a standalone story in itself as a film. The best one, easy. I love those movies though. I love those movies.
Oh, I agree.
So damn good. So damn good. Okay, Ethan. Okay. So we both had number two is Pirates.
I do have another one that I can pick.
What do you got?
And this is mostly quality wise. Like, there's a lot on here that I probably enjoyed more. But one of the best movies that I remember seeing, and I need to revisit it. But oh no, but there's two. There's two that I like. The one that I revisit quite often, the other one that I don't, but I know is a really solid movie. No, I'm not. Last Samurai is one that I think is really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like that one. Quality wise, it's really well done. A lot of people try and say like Tom Cruise, and it's the way they frame the movie in the poster. Tom Cruise is not the Last Samurai. A lot of people say he is in the movie. He is not. The Last Samurai is the group of them running together. Like, those were the Last Samurai. Tom Cruise was with that group, but he was not one of the samurai. At least from what I remember. At least that's also not how I interpret it, right? However, I can say I don't have much more to say about it because I haven't seen it for so long.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
But my other pick for 2003 would be Holes. Holes is such a good movie. I never read the book. I'll admit, I never read the book. Everyone else I know who loves that movie has. But no, it's such a good movie. Just super fun, super weird. But I have yet to come across someone who's been like,
they're just like, Holes is garbage.
Holes is good. Like, no, like Sigourney Weaver, Shia LaBeouf, John
You're
Voight.
right. They're all not. I haven't seen either of those two movies in I don't know how long.
That's because you're not living life, Matt.
Or I'm moving forward,
That's because
and I'm not looking to
you're
the
not truly
past.
living.
Maybe that's it. No, I don't know. I look to the past all the time.
You just spent time talking about Pirates of the Caribbean
and School of Rock, baby. Can't forget School of Rock.
It's true.
Wow.
Man, like at this point, like there's so many good movies that came out this year.
Well,
Like,
yeah, exactly. What are you even gonna do?
Like, that's the thing. I'm at a point where it's like, it's actually hard to pick. 28 Days Later.
Yep.
Another like change the zombie genre. X2, which a lot of people say is the best X-Men movie. I personally still think First Class is the best X-Men movie, but a lot of people go for X2. Oh goodness, this is hard. Like, it's Piglet's Big Movie is another really, 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 really good one. Not as emotional as the Tigger movie though.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched either of those.
Did you watch the live action Peter Pan when it came out?
Nope.
Really, really, really good adaptation of Peter Pan. Like, everything from even like the score. The score is phenomenal in it. Like, it really captures like the magic of what Peter Pan is.
Mm-hmm.
And just really solid, like, honestly one of the best adaptations of Peter Pan there is out there. And like, I know people my age loved it and a bit younger than me loved it, but like no one talks about it anymore. That's the thing I've noticed. A lot of the movies that came out in 2003, a lot of people just don't talk about. I don't know.
Probably because they came out in 2003.
Yeah, but these are good movies, Matt.
I know, but the world moves on, except for people like us who love to go back and look at these things. That's all.
Do you have any more to mention, or?
Going through our list right now? Is that what we're doing? The rest of the list?
I think that's all that there's left. Got the Matrix sequels.
Sounds good. Yeah, I can roll through the rest of my list if you want, real quick. Because I got like some really random ones that I watched when I was 12, and I was like, this was great.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it was about anymore, but this was great.
You go through
Okay.
yours for a bit, and then I'll go through the rest of mine.
Okay, good. I'll hit through the rest of mine real quick here. So first one on my list was Kangaroo Jack. I don't remember.
I've never seen it. I've never seen Kangaroo Jack.
I just remember the commercials where Kangaroo Jack was like, in a hip,
And they're like, yeah, this,
like,
that
yeah,
and
man.
Snow Dogs. They did the
It's a
same
talking
marketing thing where it's
Kangaroo.
like they
Yeah,
marketed
yeah.
the talking animal, and they were like in one scene.
Yeah, I don't think Kangaroo Jack was even in that much, but I think, but this had Jerry O'Connell in it. Do you remember Jerry O'Connell? Like back in the early 2000s, this guy was one of like the guys, kind of in comedy. Like he was popping up in so many things. I haven't actually seen him for a long time. I don't.
He's still acting, doing a lot of voice.
I'm sure he is. I just haven't seen him in anything like major stuff. But and then you got Anthony Anderson in that film too, who's still doing a lot of stuff. Really great, and obviously the great Christopher Walken. The great Christopher Walken. In that film. And I think basically what happened is those two ended up with Christopher Walken's diamonds or money or interfered with a heist or something. And they're on the run. And honestly, Kangaroo Jack had nothing to do with the film, I think. I think it was like... Again, I think it was in it for like 10 seconds. And it might have been a hallucination. I don't even remember.
Him talking was a hallucination. I know
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And like the fact that there was like barely a kangaroo, it just happened to be in Australia. It was strange, but fun film. It was still pretty fun. It was a good time. And then we got National Security. Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn. I loved that one. That was good. Martin Lawrence. This was the same kind of time where Martin Lawrence was doing all those buddy cop films. He had National Security and Blue Streak. Those two, love them. Back in Martin Lawrence's real solid days. Real solid days. He had some really great movies. Me and my brother loved them. Darkness Falls. We talked about this one.
That's a Tooth Fairy one, right?
A long time ago. That's the one I think if you have to stay in the light, right? Or else she gets you.
Because it's the Tooth Fairy one. It's
I think so.
It's the Tooth Fairy. Yeah. I debated throwing that on my list, but I was pretty sure we talked about it before.
I'm like, we did talk about this a couple months ago because I couldn't remember what the name of that movie was. Because I remembered the plot or the idea of it. I couldn't remember what the actual movie was. But Darkness Falls, that's what it was. So it made the list. Old School, Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson. Have you seen Old School?
No, never.
That one, it's actually a Will Ferrell movie you might enjoy.
I like Step Brothers well enough.
Yeah, but and this is like Will Ferrell before he was really like the Will Ferrell of like what we kind of have nowadays, right? He was great in this film. Like he did some of his yelling stuff and screaming and we're going streaking. Come on, Snoop a loop. You can bring your little green hat. So basically, these guys, I can't remember if they go back to college or what the whole thing is, but they do start a fraternity between Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Luke Wilson. And it's pretty much all the partying and crazy stuff that happens in those houses. But there wasn't too much schooling happening. But it was a fun time. You're my boy, Blue. There's like this old man who joined their fraternity named Blue. Oh, it's good. It's really funny. It's really funny. Definitely not a kid's movie, for sure. So why I watched it when I was that age, I don't know. But it was good. It was good. Anger Management. Adam Sandler.
Nothing.
Jack Nicholson. You haven't seen Anger Management?
Nope. I was 12.
But it was Anger Management, man. It was Adam Sandler. They didn't let you go see Adam Sandler?
No, I don't get Adam Sandler.
Oh, man.
I see the appeal. I understand why other people would like him. He just doesn't do it for me.
You and I have I appreciate that you and I like different movies, but sometimes it just surprises me. The different movies that we like.
I like Mr. Deeds. Big Daddy was cool.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Yeah, those are great movies too.
No, most of his stuff I don't understand the appeal.
So
I get it. It's just not for me.
this one though is more about Jack Nicholson, right? Like Adam Sandler was the more tame one in this one. This was like Jack Nicholson losing his mind, which was great. So Jack Nicholson is like this anger management therapist, but he's like way crazier than Adam Sandler, and it just creates this crazy like kind of little buddy adventure. You know that meme or that gif that you see with Jack Nicholson? He's smiling, and he's nodding, and his song gets bigger and bigger. Like that's where that's from, and he's got all the crazy hair. Yes, that's from anger management. That's anger management. Totally worth seeing. X-Men 2. I've already mentioned that. Talk about that. I don't really remember, honestly, that much of it. I honestly don't, and I haven't revisited it for a long time. It's been a while.
It was fun for a 12-year-old.
Yeah, like I mean, I think it's still my question is, does it hold up today?
I don't know. I haven't rewatched.
That's what I'm wondering, and it's on Disney Plus now. So honestly, maybe I'll go check it out when we're done recording. But that's one that I'm like, oh man, I remember it was good back in the day. But obviously, there's been a huge jump in quality and not necessarily quality, but the way they look at comic book movies now than early 2000s. So whether it still holds up, I'm kind of curious, and I might check it out. Daddy Daycare. That's one for kids that was very funny. Eddie Murphy.
And they tried to make a sequel, and then another.
Oh, dude, that was I just ignore that. But the first one was pretty. The first one was pretty damn good. The first one was pretty damn good, and that's all my family was bugging me about when my wife went back to work. We're still in COVID, right? And now it's like just me and the boy all day. They're like, Daddy Daycare, and I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be just like that. I'll just hype him up on sugar and be chasing him around the house. That was actually one of the first times I saw the Flash outfit. I was like, who is this hero? I'm like, how did I not know the Flash up until that point? No, that's a lie. Like, I did know the Flash because I would have watched the Justice League TV show. But
it's true.
Probably forgot at that point. I was all about Green Lantern in that one. In that animated series, I loved Green Lantern. Jon Stewart. I'm like, yeah. Come on, Green Lantern. Daddy Daycare. Great show. Bruce Almighty. I liked it more than Evan Almighty. This is the one with Jim Carrey.
Yep.
That one was pretty good.
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Nope, I haven't seen either of them.
Dude, watch Bruce Almighty. Evan Almighty is like okay-ish. It's kind of like Noah's Ark thing. But Bruce Almighty, he gets the power of God. So basically God is Morgan Freeman, because who else would it be? And
Morgan Freeman.
Bruce gets to be God for like a day or a week or something like that. And he's getting like all these prayers. And just this one scene, like he collects it all into an email. And he just goes yes to everything. So then everyone's getting everything they prayed for. And the world pretty much falls into chaos. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's a lot of fun. Obviously, we talked about Finding Nemo.
Yeah, just classic. Like, there's not much more to say about Finding Nemo.
No, it is a classic. And I just watched it last night with my family for, like, my daughter put it on. We sat down and watched Finding Nemo. It's still pretty damn great. Still pretty great. Too Fast, Too Furious. This is, like, I can't believe it totally blows my mind sometimes when I look at the Fast and the Furious franchise and you look at where it starts and, like, where it's at. It's like, if you told me in the early 2000s, when I was watching Too Fast and Too Furious, that this is where we were going to end up by 2021. Number one, that the franchise was still making movies in 2021. But this is kind of where we'd end up. I would be like, no, that's not even the same franchise. And sure enough, but I liked Too Fast, Too Furious. It was fun. It was nice. It was different, obviously, from the first one. And it's kind of when you got that old working for the cops and stuff. And you had Tyrese Gibson in that one as well with Paul Walker.
Yeah.
And he had that sick Nissan Skyline, that white and blue one. Ooh. At the beginning of the film, that was some tight stuff. And that was back in the day when it was all about the underglow and the spinners.
The nitrous.
Yeah. It was pretty sick. It was great. 28 Days Later. Cillian Murphy. right? You talked about this one, totally changed up the zombie genre. And I actually just watched this one a couple months ago as well. And still holds up. Still a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of fun. It's totally, you can tell it's an older film. And I love some of the choices they made with it, like the filming. It makes it really feel like the
Real.
world is so empty
Yeah.
and real. But also like the hard rock music that they get in there sometimes. It was pretty cool. I really like that one. And it actually made me appreciate Cillian Murphy more as a performer. I haven't watched any of the Peaky Blinders series, and I do want to get to that. Um, but for the most I've seen him in was literally, I think, the Dark Knight series, and I didn't like his voice. Like it drove me nuts. It was too soft. It was creepy, right? And I just thought that's how the guy sounded. But then when you put him with his normal, like Irish accent, you're like, oh well, this just makes sense. That makes sense coming from you, and I thought it was just a way stronger performance. And I was like, you know what? I freaking love Cillian Murphy now. Great. Then he was in 28 Days, not 28 Days Later. We're just talking about that. A Quiet Place, Part 2. He's the main guy. And he just rocks it at that. He's really such a really strong performer. And I wish
Oh
I'd
yeah.
given him more of a chance and looked into more of his filmography. And I'll definitely
Never
be
too
doing that a
late.
little bit more. But yeah, 28 Days Later, great piece of film. Bad Boys 2. Come on. Bad boys, what you gonna do? That's actually one of the, I think that's the best one in the franchise.
Never seen any of them.
Dude, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. I
I mean,
mean,
I watch good
me and my
movies.
brother were very prone to watching, obviously, like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Like that just, makes sense. There wasn't too many black guy movies out there, but Bad Boys was so much fun. And the second one, probably the best one. There's very few franchises that I will say the second one is without a doubt the best. And that's Bad Boys and um, Rush Hour. Rush Hour 2 is definitely the best out of the trilogy. 1 was good, 3 wasn't great. And that's kind of that. In Bad Boys 3, I didn't find it to be that great either. It had really strong moments in the beginning and the middle, and then totally devolved by the last third of the film. I was like, okay, this was going in a really great direction. Now it just got ridiculous. Like, why'd you ruin it? Why'd you ruin it? Anyway, Cabin Fever was another one that I remember watching
Never
when I was
seen
a
it.
youngin. I don't know if it's a good movie to be honest, but
It's been on my list for years. I just never have gotten around to watch it.
yeah, I remember it being pretty gory, and it was at least it was memorable because I'm sure I've watched a lot of different horror movies since then. But Cabin Fever is always one that when I hear about it, like yeah, I can picture that, I can remember that. So it was definitely memorable. So we'll put that in there. Radio, um,
Radio is really good.
Cuba Gooding Jr. What are you gonna say, right? Just freaking awesome that movie. That movie makes me. I think that's one of those ones that makes me cry every time I watch it. So I try not to watch it too often because I just like get so emotional about it, man. Freaking loved Radio. Scary Movie 3.
That's yep.
My favorite
Probably
scary
my favorite
movie.
scary movie, right?
Easily. Easily.
That's because they hit their stride finally. Like there's a lot of fun gags in the first two,
Yeah.
but the third one is when they just kind of hit their stride and they're like, you know what? Instead of just parroting like one or two things, let's just everything. Let's
Like,
just throw everything. At it.
Everything. Just and like the physical humor in that film was off the freaking wall. This was the only scary movie that actually got me on the floor laughing. Like I was laughing so hard, I just fell over. I just fell off the
Oh, yeah.
couch. I couldn't even help it. Like all the things that happened to that kid, like it's just so damn funny to me. Like they just beat the crap out of that kid the whole movie. The whole movie. And then if you go watch Scary Movie 4, it's like, oh, this is nowhere near as good as 3. 3 is the peak of the franchise. After that, it goes down. But Scary Movie 3 is easily the best out of that series. And not just the best in the fact that it's the funniest. It's honestly, I think, the most well-made one.
Yeah.
And like you said, it peaked. 1 and 2 were pretty good in themselves, but 3 was That was money. That was money. Last couple ones here. I'll go through real quick. Elf. I really like that one. I know you're probably not a big fan of that, but that's a good old classic Will Ferrell one. Looney Tunes back in action. Got to put that in there. Brandon Fraser, baby. Let's go.
Yep.
I miss that guy so much. That was like right in the, that must have been, was that after the Mummy films? When did those start coming out? That was still after the Mummy films.
1999 and 2002, I think.
Okay, so we're right on the tail end of that. Because, yeah, I remember back in 2003, that was when I was like, man, Brendan Fraser's the man. Just love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because those Mummy films
He's
just
so good.
stand out, right? And it's just, it's a damn shame we didn't get more of them over the years.
Hey, he's still acting. He's still.
I'm not saying he's not, and I'm sure he's going to do some more things. Well, he's in the, what's that DC show?
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol.
He's amazing. He's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wish we got to see more between now and like nowadays, you know? Guy has still so much potential. It'll be exciting to see him come back.
He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot.
I know. I've read the stories. I've just didn't think we wanted to talk about get into it today.
That's fair.
Bad Santa. Love me some good old Billy Bob Thornton. Anytime you need those like redneck kind of a-holes, he's always a classic. And finally, Cheaper by the Dozen.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it was a good it was a good family one. And we did own the VHS of that, so it did get played in my house quite often. And that was a nice good family one.
Right.
But literally, okay, so that's my list, and that's a lot of movies. And
I still got more on mine too.
There was still movies that I just left out because I was like, we can't be here for 3 hours talking about 2003. Right. But that's what I'm talking about. This year was banging. So many movies that I just had great memories of, and that made me feel like, I don't know, just made me feel happy. Like going through 2003 just made me feel happy. And I was like, man, as a 12-year-old, right. I'm sure I was just so ecstatic to go to the movies all the time. Because it's just... That was 2003, baby. That was 2003. Okay, let's hit up the rest of your list now. And I'll be quiet. Shut the hell up.
Mine won't be long either, but like Agent Cody Banks came out that year.
Yeah, I left that off my list. I was like, it was good, but...
See, I left Cheaper by the Dozen off, but it's like, cause it's
good.
The same tone. It's the same thing, right? Like, it's good. Yeah. It's fun. The Matrix movies, they did Reloaded and Revolution in the same year. And I forgot about that until I was looking at the list, and I'm like, oh, right. Back when they didn't care about release schedules, they just did it. They
just put out movies.
Here's your movies, like 6 months apart from each other.
And I haven't seen those in such a long time. I didn't feel like I should put them on, because I honestly don't even remember what happened in those films. I have to go back and watch them.
More Matrix stuff, like, and they're fun. Like, they're not amazing, but they're fun. The Italian Job is one that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. I just want to go back to quite a bit. It's just a fun action heist movie. Probably go back to it mostly because Seth Green and his whole like obsession with being called the real Napster because he claims his roommate stole Napster from him, and I love that. Sinbad, the animated Sinbad movie with Brad Pitt, Michelle Pfeiffer, solid animated film, DreamWorks. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It did not age well at all, but it is so fun. It is just so ridiculous.
Yeah, good old Sean Connery. Oh,
dude, the cast was stacked. But it's one of those ones that like... It's one that I rewatched a few times, and I'm like, man, this is pretty freaking awful. But I love how terrible it is.
It's one of those ones that's so bad it's good.
It's like Van Helsing. It's so bad it's good.
Guilty pleasure.
Like, in the way that like, not even guilty, man. I just enjoy it. Like it's because it's not like cringy bad.
I'm not even guilty about this. It's just a good time. And then
Spy Kids 3D was this year.
Did that make your list? Seriously?
Oh yeah, man, I loved it growing up. I love all the Spy Kids. They're so bad, but they're so much fun, and they're perfect kids
I
movies.
liked two.
And
I liked
and
two.
Spy Kids, man, all three of them. And Spy Kids 3D is just hilariously because it's hilariously bad because it's all the 3D gags, and this was before 3D even like took
Yep,
off.
yeah.
This was the red and blue 3D, and like I love the running gag of like them thinking Junie is the guy, and then Elijah Wood shows up being like, "No, I am," and then he just dies, just gets murdered, and I love it. It's so funny. Brother Bear
Oh,
came out this year as
oh
well,
yeah. I did leave that one off
and
because I haven't seen it for a while, but it is
I'm very much excited to get to it when I go through
yeah
my.
Disney
Because remember, I
collection.
love it. Like, yeah. Haunted Mansion is then I mentioned it earlier, but like, it's fun. It's another one of those ones like it's not great, but it's just a fun time. It's a fun Halloween movie. It's fun to watch around that season. And like the last one on my list is one that I didn't see until this year, and it's like got a really low rating online. But me and Broster watched it. We're like, why do people hate this movie? It's really fun, and that's its Timeline. It's a time travel movie with Paul Walker and Gerard Butler,
Oh my god.
and it's so
I
random.
am
It's like
sold.
this.
You don't even have to tell me what this movie's about. How
That's
have I
what I
never
was
heard
like
of
when I
it?
saw it too.
Paul
We
Walker
saw
and
it.
Gerard Butler? Then I'm
Did a time travel movie.
what?
They get thrown back in time into medieval days, and it's like
Oh
it's
my
this weird. It's yeah, it's bizarre, and that's I found it at work. I found it at Sunrise, and I picked it up. I was like reading. I'm like this movie sounds incredible, and I sent Prosper a picture. He's like, we need to watch this movie, and the editing's a little weird, and it's like, but like we don't understand why it got so much negative reviews because it was fun. It was ridiculous. It's man, like it was so good. So Timeline, definitely check out Timeline. It tickles all the right spots of like the 2000s.
Out of all the movies we talked about today, that is number one on my list right now to check out. 'Cause that sounds freaking amazing. I am sold.
And literally,
I'm sold.
the thing is, I'm not even gonna pitch the rest of the movie. It's Paul Walker, Gerard Butler,
Time travel.
time travel to the Middle Ages,
What more could you ask for? What more do you want?
and it's such a 2003 movie.
Oh my god.
Like,
Oh yeah.
well, Matt,
Oh yeah.
that's our lists.
Paul. And just long as hell. Hey, just long as hell. But just they're banging, man.
so good.
They're banging. Well,
And there's probably a lot that we missed too.
yeah, there was a
So if
lot we
there's
had
any
to
that we
leave out.
missed,
Yeah.
If there's any we missed, let us know. Let us know. Either tell us in person or just shoot us a comment.
Yeah, let us know what your 2003 list is, because that's yeah.
You had a question of the day for us last week,
Yep,
didn't you?
I did.
What is it? What is
I wrote
Let's
it
see
down because I was like, "There's no way I'll
Did
remember
you
by
lose
next
it?
week."
Did you?
No, I didn't. I actually almost did lose it. I was looking through just before we started, and I couldn't find it. And then we started
That's
recording,
hilarious.
and I looked down, and it was right there. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I just forgot.
That's
I
convenient.
forgot what piece of paper I wrote it on. I got tons of little notepads. Okay, so question of the day. Let's get into this thing. And this kind of like harkens back to, at least for me, those late 90s, early 2000 movies as well. So, question of the day, what's your favorite movie music video? Because you remember back in the day, there were so many movies that had their own specific music video that would come on. Like you watch to the end of the credits and they'd play a music video or something of like the theme song or
No, I don't think so. Like I know there were a lot of like movies that had like main songs that would have music videos with clips of the movies in
yeah.
them. But I never remember seeing them in the movie. They were always like on MTV. And like honestly, dude, like that's easy because like the only one that really sticks out to me is Hero by Chad Kruger and
Oh, really?
that other guy. Yeah, that's the only one that sticks out to me. That and like there's a cut of Bring Me to Life that has a bunch of like Daredevil clips in it. But no, like Hero by Dude, one of my favorite movie songs in general is Hero because it's so cheesy, but it's so like pump up, like it's like
and it
yeah, Hero will save us.
I'm not gonna stand
Here to
here
stand here and wait. And it's
I'll
like, man,
hold
this is on
on
the
to
2000s.
the wings of the eagles. Watch as we all fly away.
And like to be honest, musically speaking, their voices blend beautifully together.
And it worked perfectly with Spider-Man. In general, it worked
100%.
perfectly with that movie. That
was so cheesy.
It was just so extra hype. Without the movie, I don't think
like
maybe the song works, but without the movie, with the movie, it definitely works. Like it is like
100%.
nail on the head. It's like this is some perfect synergy going on here. Absolutely, that's a good choice. I actually forgot about that one.
I'm trying to think of other ones, and like even like because like Shrek has one of the best movie soundtracks out there, but none of them are really tied to music videos and stuff. Like what are you talking about? Which one?
Okay, so I have two. I have one that's very specific. That's easily my favorite. But yeah, that one you're talking about, Daredevil, with Evanescence, Bring Me to Life.
Yeah, Bring Me
that
to
I'm
Life.
pretty sure that was at the end of that film. If you watch to the end past the credits, I'm pretty sure that music video came on.
Maybe
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that one.
Are you thinking just on the DVD, or are you thinking like in theaters too?
Probably the DVD. Probably the home release.
Maybe on the Well, I know a lot of old DVDs would actually just kick into their special features. Like if you finish the movie, they just pop onto the special features.
It may be in the special features too by DVD time.
Maybe. But yeah, it's just this normal music video, and then suddenly like halfway through, it starts cutting in footage of Daredevil.
But they kind of got like the
and then it stops again.
Kind of got like the New York Daredevil aesthetic,
the whole skyscraper
kind of thing.
and everything.
Yeah.
But like, there's just a lot of moments without Daredevil, and then suddenly he's there, and then suddenly he's not, and then it's just clips from the movie.
It's a damn great song though. That song's banging.
Oh
that
yeah,
song's banging. Evanescence is banging in general. That's crazy music.
Music from the 2000s is kind of insane.
Okay, so this music video though, for sure, I guarantee you, was at the very end after the credits on the VHS, not VAS, VHS tape. 100%. And that's Will Smith's Men in Black. And that honestly is my favorite music video tie-in, because not only did they do the whole music video and obviously Men in Black style, like they were in like the hallway with all the lights and in the different rooms and obviously show clips from the movies, they also had a scene where the alien at the very beginning of the movie shows up, and then Will Smith, they just all break into like this little dance number that goes on through the music video. And me and my brother like memorized and learned the dance because it was awesome. Just like, let me just take a walk with me, just walk with me, just walk with me. Come on, now we slide. Like it was just great. Through the network, and freeze. That was my favorite movie music video. And I swear, more movies especially coming out of the late 90s, had that. If you watched past the credits,
I know there
was a lot of movie music videos that would play at the end.
Music videos. I know there's a lot of songs though, and even now they do that still though.
Yeah, there's songs
because it in the 2000s, the early 2000s though, it was always rock or like metal songs or like new metal songs, and now it's all rap. It's all rap songs now. And same thing for trailers though too. Like, that's drastically changed. It used to be about hardcore and, like, yeah, we're metal. This is dark and edgy. And now it's like,
we're just cool. We took it down a notch. We took it down. We changed styles. But, for me, that's easily my favorite movie music video still. Will Smith's Men in Black.
And they say that a hero will save us.
Here come the Men in Black, Men in Black, Galaxy Defenders. So fucking great. Oh man, the good guys dress in black. Remember that, just in case we ever face to face.
Hero stuck in my head.
Title held by me, MIB. What you think you saw, you did not see.
I have Hero stuck in my head.
You're welcome.
Now.
Man, we're just gonna get like totally. They'll be like, "Hey, you guys are singing our music. Shut this podcast down." We in trouble.
We at Nickelback haven't done anything relevant in many years.
Oh, man. Great. So let us know, what is your favorite movie music video? And it doesn't have to necessarily be at the end of credits, like mine, but just any song or music video that's kind of directly tied in with the film or to the film.
Oh, on a complete unrelated note, but you and possibly the audience would appreciate this. So I was chilling out at work
Yeah.
this week, and I was going through some music on my computer, and I got to the Dear Zachary soundtrack. I listened to like the first maybe 3 bars of like the main theme,
And you're
I started
bawling.
tearing. I started tearing up, and I'm like, "This is not the time or the place for this right now.
Just like,
we're gonna
cannot be doing this right now, man. Cannot.
just hold on tight, hold on." I'm not okay.
Yeah. Good times.
Man.
Good
so
times.
So good.
Good times.
But yeah. Hey Matt, where can the good people find you?
Yeah. You can find me
Here?
at places where I'm at. I will give you my home address if you like. Just that'll be $10. You can just send it to
123 Fake Street.
me. I don't know. Yeah, no. You can find me at GK Radio Man on Twitter. But you can also find my podcast, other than this one, Gaming Night Radio, on any of your podcast apps, or just head over to gamingnightradio.com. All the episodes are up there, always up to date. It's all about celebrating the best of gaming and calling out the worst. It's a fun time. If you like gaming, come on by. Ethan, where can the good folks find you?
You can find me at Ethan R. Hill on Instagram. You can also find me at Ethan R. Hill on YouTube. And you can also find Damned Rights, the feature film that me and Jesse Prosser made together, on realhouse.org. You can rent it, you can download it, you can buy it, you can
fly it,
stream it. You could, but it makes a great frisbee if you bought it physically.
There you go.
But yeah, no, go support us, go check it out. Try not to hate it. We love it. We think it's a good time. It's fun.
And yeah, let us know what you think. Your favorite 2003 movie list. Let us know what your answer to the question of the day is. And yeah. Hope you had a good time. We had a good time.
That's another great episode of a Feast of Films. Oh, see, I ended it like we started. Now, if they were sleeping to it, they've woken up.
That at least wasn't as disturbing. That was just kind of a random yell, so that was good. That first one was creepy.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
I don't even know what I did.
I was not expecting that. Okay. Welcome to a Feast of Films, your buddy.
Welcome to a Feast of Films. All right. With that said, I'm Ethan R. Hill. With me always is
Matt Ayalew.
You have a great week, everybody. We will check you later.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Toodaloo, Matt. Where's the toodaloo?
I think there was one more. I think I screwed it up again. I'm sorry.
No, it's so long. Bye-bye, toodaloo.
Is it? I thought it was bye-bye, so long. Toodaloo.
Oh, we've been flipping that? Yeah, maybe it is bye-bye. You didn't start right.
No, I told you I screwed it up. Anyway, have a good week, everyone. I'll actually be gone next week, too. The next couple weeks on
talk to Prosser,
vacation.
And you can see how great it is without Matt here. The nerd.
The ratings just skyrocket. They're like, oh, thank God he's not here. So come on by. Make sure you still come listen to Ethan and Prosser. And I'll see you guys when I get back.
All right. Well,
all right.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
So long.
Toodaloo. There we go. Nailed it.
Yay.